So here's how he draws it. This would be the start. Now it could be a to-do, it could be a project, but this is when we start it. And over here, this is when it's due. So the horizontal axis here is time, the start and when it's due, the due date. And the vertical axis is how motivated we are or how much work gets done, okay? So how do you think this goes? Start, end. Do you think it's linear? It's like, no, there's no way. Piers was like, he draws this over and over and over in the book. It goes like this. At the start, it goes like this, and then there's the big panic at the end, okay? And can you recognize this? I mean, I see it on a regular basis in other people, and I see it in myself. Sometimes it's called the student syndrome. The student knows that this is when the final exam's gonna be, and yet, why study? We still have many months, and we still got a couple weeks, and then there's the big cram at the end. So Piers shows this in domain after domain, that it's almost like built into us to conserve energy, okay? So what is a way to try to deal with this? Well, this is what Piers suggests in the book Procrastination Equation. You put some stakes in the ground. Go like this. Got some stakes in the ground, okay? Now, the project management terminology for this would be like milestones or coming up with a baseline. But you have some specific points of this is where we're gonna be. And what he says is the work goes like this. Okay? So it's kind of the same idea, only it's smaller segments. Let me give you an example of how this works. There was a firm that hired me to create a facilitation skills class. So it's basically doing what I'm doing now, only teaching other people to do it. Okay? And I just know myself, on the year that they hired me to do this, it was at the beginning of the year. I would have squandered January and February, and March I would have started thinking about it. April I would have started really working on it, and May I wouldn't have slept. That's exactly how it would have gone, okay? But because I had interviewed Piers and I kind of knew how this worked, let me tell you how it worked. We put some stakes in the ground. It was checkpoints with this primary contact at the customer, and it turned out to be almost every Thursday, okay? So let me tell you how the work went. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. As I got closer to that meeting with my main contact, the work picked up. Why? Because I can't show up with nothing. I have to have something to be able to show her, right? Now, this had the benefit of me staying on track, okay? So it helped me, and we delivered on time. But can you think of any other benefit of having these regular check-ins with the client? Think about that. One of the benefits was she knew there was progress. And sometimes with the absence of information, people are going to think everything's going great or everything's going terrible, but they don't know for sure. So by having these interactions, at least she knew there was progress. Something else was kind of interesting on this one, and this was one of the great benefits of it, was one of the first checkpoints. I showed her the draft slides. It wasn't even close to being done because I wasn't supposed to be done, but I showed her what had been done so far at that point. And she's like, I really like where this is going. There's only one problem. I'm like, well, what's that? She goes, you have some pictures on your slides. I'm like, yep. And I'm like, is that a problem? She goes, oh, yeah. Our company culture is that your PowerPoint slides have to use a standard template and no pictures, zero. And she just wasn't, she wasn't saying no cheesy clip art. She's like, 0 pictures of any kind. And part of me felt like saying, welcome to 1989. But hey, isn't that helpful information to know right now? To know that that's the issue? Because the longer you run a project, it's related to what psychologists call the mere exposure effect. When we're first exposed to something, we kind of don't like it. But the longer we're exposed to it, the more we like it. And so sometimes when you're like, all right, I'm going to take over this project, I'm going to go all in, and the longer you run this project becomes your baby. You're like, I love my baby. This is a great facilitation skills class. And then I deliver my baby, and what does the client say? Your baby's ugly. That's kind of what it feels like. But having these checkpoints along the way, finding out about their company culture, which had not come out in requirements or anything else, knowing that now, then every time I got an update, she saw that I was responsive to it. And what are the odds that we get to the end of this project and she's like, this project, this class isn't what we look like. No, that's not going to happen. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. When it comes to running your project, especially at the beginning of the project, there's just a lot we don't know, right? There's just a lot we don't know. Now we can say, well, since we don't know, then why do a plan? Well, that's not a recipe for success. Let's come up with some plan, but don't worry about coming up with the perfect plan, because in a world with a lot of uncertainty, that doesn't even exist anyway. But one of the things you can do is you can get some stakes in the ground, and that can help keep you on track, but it's something that you can also use to keep other people on track. Do you ever have trouble getting someone on another side of the organization to deliver their stuff, and they don't have the same sense of urgency that you have? They just drag their feet, and the longer they drag their feet, it slows you down. Well, get a stake in the ground. Hey, you know what? I need you to present that update at that day, at that meeting. Okay? Even if you have to artificially set the date in order to keep the progress. It's a thing that can help give us focus, and it can be good for us, and it could be good for them. PMI has a term for this. They talk about when you get something done, pass it by, look internally to see if it was done right, but then pass it by the customer, whoever is your sponsor, key stakeholders. It's called verify the scope. So you've done something and you're verifying to make sure it's done correctly. Well, this allows you to do it. It allows you to have these checkpoints to keep focus, and there is some wisdom on this, to keep these stakes in the ground at 2 weeks or less. Okay? At 2 weeks or less. And you might guess why. Because the longer the distance there, the more you have that opportunity to have the procrastination. Okay? Now, as nice as this looks, in the real world, we're not necessarily always going to hit those stakes in the ground. For some reason, whether it's our fault, whether it's someone else's, whether it was just bad estimating, we don't hit it. So how does that work? Well, or how's that good? Let's say we get right past this one and we blow right past it. And maybe we blow right past that. Now, that's not good, but at this point, it's pretty obvious that we are behind schedule. Now, and I say this because if you don't have the stakes in the ground, what happens? A boss or a client or a stakeholder goes, hey, how's the project going? If you don't have the stakes in the ground, what's your response? It's going fine, right? I mean, you might be going off a cliff. It's going fine, right? And you know what? For the first second or two, it probably feels okay, but it's going to be a crash at the end. And too often, we have people running projects. They don't really know how the project's going. And what they're saying is, well, you know what? We've still got some time. We can make this up. We can make this up. Get some stakes in the ground. And when, in fact, we don't hit that stake in the ground like we'd hoped we did, what do? We have another wave of planning. That's the whole idea. You progressively elaborate. Now that we've finished this, we have more information that can help us do the rest of that. So this is often one of the top 5 things that people take from this entire program. I want to encourage you, get some stakes in the ground. Not because it's going to go this way, but it gives us something to measure against. In PMI terminology, it's just referred to as a baseline. It's something to measure against. It's like the white lines on the side of the road or the bumps on the side of the road. You know? What are you supposed to do if you hit the bumps on the side of the road? Now, stop texting probably, but you're supposed to get back on track. But let's say you're not paying attention. You're on the bumps on the side of the road. You're on the shoulder of the road. You're in the ditch. You're in the field. You're in the lake in the field. And all of a sudden the question is like, how do we get so far behind on this project? There's a guy by the name of Fred Brooks who's asked this question. How does a project get a year behind? And his answer, 1 day at a time. It's 1 day at a time. And in this idea, it's by not having the stakes in the ground. And all of a sudden, we're just, I know it's not going perfect, but I think we can make this up. It's just a little bit further off, a little bit further off, a little bit further off. A guy by the name of Jerry Weinberg said this: something may look like a crisis, but it's only the end of an illusion. Think about that. Something may look like a crisis, but it's only the end of an illusion. Plenty of examples of that. But from projects, this project seems to be in crisis. What was the illusion? The illusion was well, we're not so far off track, right? We're not so far off track. It can't be that bad. Get some stakes in the ground and then progressively elaborate. Have another wave of planning. This is an idea that regardless of your project culture, if you're like have almost no process or even if you have a lot of process, you can employ. Try it out.